Well, this is the Church Answers podcast. My name is Jess Rayner. I'm here with my newly named father, Thom Rayner.
Fifth grade, not new.
If you caught the last episode, which I hope you did, if you haven't, go back and check it out. We talked about why you should potentially change the name of your church. In the course of that conversation, we learned that my dad, who is named Thomas, that had his name shortened to Tom, then decided to create it and make sure his name is Thom. But the H is silent. The H is silent with this Thomas. And so we're excited you guys are here with at the Church Answers podcast. Before we jump in our topic today, we want to thank Cheney Associates. They are doing incredible work with the local church. In fact, they're only focused on helping churches. They are an accounting firm for the church. They don't do any other type of accounting, just accounting for the church. And so if you're looking for someone who's specialized, who's dedicated, who's informed, who's knowledgeable, and who's just fun to work with,
they are great folks to work with.
Go check out Cheney and Associates. Go to CheneyAssociates.com/church answers.
Make an appointment. Talk to them.
Yeah, just get a phone call. You'd be surprised what they can do for your church when it comes to your finances and your bookkeeping, especially if you're in a season that maybe you need some help or maybe someone's retiring. Get them on the phone, get a call, talking with them. They're doing a great job. So, well, we're talking about names again. We're keeping with the theme from last podcast. We're talking about reasons you should potentially change the name of your church. Now we're looking at what are the names.
So you want me to give you another story about me changing my name in the 7th grade after the 5th grade?
I did not know you've had this many identities, so go ahead.
Well, I was in homeroom in the 7th grade. We were in a school system where 7th grade began high school. It was just 7 through 12, small town. Okay. So this was the first time I'd ever had a homeroom. And so the homeroom teacher is going through the roll and he looks at my name and he says, "How do you pronounce your name?" I don't know why I did this. I just said, "Sean." And it was like, okay. And from that all year long with my classmates, with the teacher, and with the bewildered teachers who already knew me, I was Sean.
You were Sean. I don't
and
recall this story.
School the next year, I might be Sean to this day.
That's hilarious. Well, who knew we had Sean Thom on the podcast today?
Sean Thom.
Sean Thomas Thom. Oh gosh,
I remember that homeroom time. He just, how do you pronounce Tom? Sean.
That's good. It's close enough to it where that's good. There's not much you can do with Jess. It really rhymes with a lot. But beyond that, there's not much you can do with Jess. It is what it is. Yeah. And everyone always asks me, is that your full name? I said, yeah. My parents left off the E. They left off
your uncle left off the E.
What's that?
No, he didn't. He was Jesse Albert.
Y'all left off the E.
Your mother left off the E. She didn't want you called Jesse.
And you know what? I agree with her. I prefer Jess over Jesse. That's maybe because it's my name, but I prefer that. That's definitely my call. So, all right. Well, Sean Thom, tell us some of these 15 most common names of churches in the United States. Before you tell us the names, why don't you tell us how you came up with these? I mean, because there's not like a list directory. I mean, there are, but there's nothing that is one place.
You have to do a lot of work with 350,000 names.
Okay, so how did we get this list?
All right, the second time I've done this, and it's been many, many years ago that I did it the first time, and basically we did a massive website search. It was not sample-based. It was just, hey, let's just go through these and start tallying them up. So we don't know how accurate it was. It's the best we could do. This is AI generated, just quite frankly. Okay. Ask AI, hey, search the web and come up with the most common names. And again, AI is not perfect. Mm-hmm. We will readily admit that, but it saved me a lot of time and probably more accurate than the old way I used to do it, which was have my team tally up emails. Hey, let's take 2 hours and go online and just start tallying up emails. So I think this is somewhat accurate. I'm not concerned about the accuracy, but we can say that these are common names.
Oh yeah. And looking at it, I actually think this is probably pretty close. I mean, if it's not,
These are all ringing a bell for us, aren't they?
they are. And I've said in the past, I'm not a huge AI fan. It has its place. This is one I think AI is helpful. It just eliminates the time that it would have taken to do this. And so anytime it's just
And
go
this research project is not life or death type of research. It's
right,
just fun research.
right.
And so just let AI do it.
This is
Hey,
where
let me start off with the last thing, honorable mention.
okay. Go ahead.
So let's go to the end of this. We got all
Right,
these names. Churches in the Presbyterian Church of America, PCA,
right.
the more conservative Presbyterian, not a big denomination. But AI said we need to give, this is what AI said, we need to give honorable mention to all the PCA churches because they tend to have the same names again and again. And then they talked about grace and faith. They said, man, they're grace and faith Presbyterian churches all throughout that denomination. It said,
Okay.
so if you kind of combine maybe 3 or 4 of their names, and what are their names connected to? It's basically grace and faith is not limited to Reformed theology, but it's something Reformed theology likes.
Right.
And they are true Reformed theology, Presbyterian solid. And so you go to a PCA church, there's a good chance there's going to be a grace or faith in the name.
Right.
I remember the first time I saw one was Faith Presbyterian Church in Anniston, Alabama, when I was a member, business world of Golden Springs Baptist. It's just right down the road from us. Probably still exists. It was a healthy church back then. So
Yeah.
that's my honorable mention.
Yeah. So while the PCA churches did not make the list, it was enough to go, hey, let's give a nod to the fact that there's a lot of similar names with the PCA church.
And couple that with Presbyterian, though. That's the thing about it.
Right.
So it's not just Faith Church, it's Faith Presbyterian Church. Grace Presbyterian Church.
That makes sense.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's go back up to the top then. Let's look at the number one, according to your research, powered by AI.
Mm-hmm.
What is the number one most common name of churches in the United States?
First plus the denominational name. And so the greater the frequency of the denomination, which is Baptist, the more likely that'll be at the top. Second most frequent is Methodist. So then it's First Methodist. Third most frequent is Presbyterian. So that's First Presbyterian. Third would be Lutheran, First Lutheran. So we could go down the list, but instead of listing all of those independently, which AI did.
Oh, gosh.
I just said first plus the denomination name.
How many outside of Baptist? I mean, obviously First Baptist that may be the most common name. I don't know.
It is the most common name.
Okay. I was going to say there's so many First Baptists.
It is the most common name that was found in our anecdotal research, which is somewhat of an oxymoron, but also in the AI work. It was First Baptist.
Okay. How would you say? So I guess this is where my question would be. Second Baptist, still pretty common. Didn't make the list though, right? Second Baptist.
Right.
Okay.
It's not as if it's way down on the list of being common.
Okay.
Not many churches want to say we came in second.
So I guess my question then is how common First Baptist versus every other first plus denomination? If you were to add up First Pres, First Methodist, would that equal the same amount as First Baptist? Would it be more? I'm just trying to get a weight of like is Baptist the clear winner like by a landslide in this?
Keep in mind that Methodism, particularly, there's been three major iterations of Methodism. Can't remember the one before, but then there was a consolidation that became United Methodism, and now there has been a break off, and there's Global Methodist. So you have to look at the history of Methodism, but Methodism exceeded Baptist churches in number for many, many years.
Okay.
And so Baptists are not far and away the most common. Now they've grown more than Methodists have in number and in size, but Methodists were pretty close. So there may be some Methodist churches that have 4 or 5 people in them, but that name is still there. So it was not this chasm between First Baptist and First Methodist.
Okay. And so I would think the reason then, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the reason this is the most common name is because this is how, when churches started, 150 years ago, this is how they named it. if you're the
Because
First
the
Baptist Church,
denomination was the reason someone joined a church.
right?
And
And,
and if we're
and
the first one in the town, that tells you we've been around the longest.
right. So that was the standard of how you named churches back in the day.
Right.
So I don't, how long, best guess, how long did that era last of naming churches like that?
Again, speculating, but I would say the turn of the century, maybe 1910, 1920, you began to see a lot of that, more in Methodism than in the Baptist. And it continued to be a common pattern through the late 80s.
Okay. So to me, that means number one is probably way far ahead than number two.
And it will be for a while. Now,
Okay.
many of these churches are changing their name, and most of them that are not starting with the denominational name,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still a lot of them right now.
So this is first plus denomination was how you named a church for the past, if you go back 150 plus years, and that continued on until the 80s. So that is a strong number one with naming churches.
And think of, well, there's nothing to think about it. Most people don't know this, but for the largest denomination, still the largest, even though it's declining, Southern Baptist Convention, it started in the mid 1800s. It was right there, right around the Civil War. It started because Southern Baptists wanted to have slaves
Right.
owners as missionaries.
Right.
And so that's how far back it goes, but Methodism even more so.
Right. So there's a history behind number one. I mean,
Mhm.
it's especially in the United States, this is a deep history of why there are so many churches named first plus their denomination, in particular First Baptist.
Mhm.
Our second name, I would say, has there's a strong reason behind this one as well. But the second name is
Grace Church.
Grace Church.
You started a Grace Church.
I was a part of a team that started Grace Church.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I didn't get to. I wasn't part of the conversation of the name, but I came shortly thereafter. So
Strong Reformed influence there.
Right.
Even if you're not a so-called Calvinist, there's a lot of influence by the Reform movement, and grace is a good word. It doesn't need to be just absorbed by one type of theological movement, such as the Reform movement. But you're going to see a lot more grace churches for people who have a Reformed theology than you do an Armenian theology.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and this is obviously you talk about Ephesians 2:8-9, for by grace you've been saved through faith. I mean, this goes back to the God's grace, God's free gift of salvation. So I mean, if there's a name that would be not denominationally tied, this would be a very prominent name, and it just makes sense. Like we're here because of God's grace. So putting the grace on there, aside from the Reformed theology, I could see why this one would be one of the top. And my guess this one's been around for a little longer than most as well.
Probably. I don't have dates on these, so
Okay.
I could ask AI to do some digging, but I got put in timeout by AI, so I'm having to wait a little while before I do another deep research project.
Wait, there. I don't know if I want to ask. I'm debating if I want to ask.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's all clean. It's all clean.
Oh, I didn't think that. I'm just trying to think, like, are you using the AI that much?
I was using the deep research function, overusing it, and I did not realize it had limits on it. So I can still use AI for general work, but I was coming up with strategies. I was digging deep. Oh my God. And all of a sudden it said, "I'm sorry, but you cannot use deep research until," and I think it gave me a 3-week timeout.
Wow.
And so I'm not going to say the date because that will be dated with the podcast. But as of right now, I've got 6 more days before I come out of timeout.
Okay. I don't know. I don't have words.
So
for that right now.
I know that you're not on social media. You're rarely on social media, but I went on X to let everybody know that I'd gone to timeout. And I said, I cannot do deep research. They take me out of that function during this time. So if you need me, in the meantime, I'll be doing shallow research.
Oh my goodness. Well, so to that end, you didn't get to do deep research on the history and the timing of some of these names, but I think it's enough to say grace is a pretty predominant one. But and another major theme.
There's a surprise here, though.
Okay, tell me the surprise.
Faith is not here.
Faith is not on this list.
Faith is not in our top 15.
That's right.
It's strange. Grace is there, but faith is not.
Well, the
I
third
guess
one.
faith is perceived to be somewhat of a human response, and so let's keep it at grace and God's initiative. I don't know. I'm trying to theologically look at this,
Yeah,
but
I
in the
don't.
PCA, once again, Faith Church is very common.
Mhm.
Faith
Yeah.
Presbyterian Church.
Yeah, I could speculate on why faith isn't on the list, but I can tell you number 3 why it's on the list.
Why is
Uh,
Hope Church on the list?
Hope Church. Yeah, because we're all longing for hope. Like this is
You know,
there's one
everyone
that
needs the hope of Jesus, Jess.
that's right. I love that. You know, a church that says we exist because everyone needs the
Everyone
hope of
needs the hope of
Jesus.
Jesus.
Um,
Yes.
that's a great vision statement.
I've
By the
heard
way,
it a
that's
few hundred times.
yeah. By the way, that's the one we have at the church at Spring Hill. It's what you talk about a name that is looking to connect with the community.
Powerful
Um,
name.
yeah, I mean the verse we read at the end of our service is Matthew 9. Jesus looked upon the crowds; he had compassion on them because they were distressed and dejected like sheep without a shepherd. It's the hopeless people,
Hmm.
and so when you talk about naming a church, you want it to something that connects with the hearts of potentially who you're reaching. And so that would be one of my guesses on why Hope Church reaches number 3 of the list of the most common names. What are your
And
thoughts?
and, and I tell you, I like the name Hope. It's just it
Yeah.
resonates with me personally. And so if I'm going to a community and I know nothing about the churches, zero,
hmm
I'd probably go to Hope Church first.
Yeah, I'm looking at our list of 15 here, and this would be the one I would pick out of the 15 for sure. So I like it. I like it. It's all about giving hope. And obviously that's why we do what we do as a church. For you church leaders out there, we want to reach our community. We want to provide that hope, and so I hope you guys are making concerted efforts to reach the community. If you're looking for someone to partner with you, to help you reach the community, we strongly encourage you to check out Upward Sports. They in particular have created one of their newer ministries, one of their newer outreaches is running for adults, and so it doesn't matter your facilities, it doesn't matter your church size. Upward's going to come alongside of you, help you create a running ministry, maybe a 5K, something you can do to reach people in your community. It is a great way to bring hope. So if you're Hope Church and you're looking to provide hope, go check out Upward Sports. Go to upward.org/run coach to check them out.
You may not know this, Jess, but I'm not a runner.
Yes, I
And
knew
all
that.
three of
I,
all three
I
of my
knew that.
sons
I
are
knew that. Yep.
runners. So, I'm grateful y'all are. It's so good for you. I did my first 5K with your middle brother, Art, Thanksgiving last year.
Uh-huh.
And he knew that I would not last long.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, Dad, you go whatever pace you want to, walk, fast walk. And even my grandson, James, my youngest grandson, I think, my next to youngest grandson, he said, they call me Red Red. He said, Red, I'll run backwards so you don't have to go fast. Thanks, grandson.
But you did
Anyway, that 5K was a lot of fun because it was a community event.
right.
And
Yeah.
it was just a lot of people there, a lot of fun.
Now you see why we do all these runs together as brothers.
Your
Either
oldest
individually.
brother does not run with you.
What's that?
Your oldest brother does not run with you.
Well, we did one recently together. I mean, about a year ago, all 3 of us.
He
did a
runs
run
ahead
together.
of you.
Not in that one.
He ran with you?
Yeah. There's lots of reasons why. He did. He stayed with us. We all crossed the finish line together. And then Art and I are doing another one in January. So we do.
Are you going to do a 50-mile like Sam did?
No, we're just going 26.2. So small run.
Marathon.
But anyway, that being said, you just hearing the conversation, people love running. And so if you're looking to provide hope to your community, go check out upwardsports.org/run coach and see what they can do for you, particular in a running ministry. Well, we'll be talking about names, common names in churches. We have First Plus Denomination. We have Grace Church. We have Hope Church. Our 4th name on the list is New Life Church.
I want to do 4, 5, 6, and 7 together.
Let's do it.
I want not well, somewhat for time's sake, but
They're all similar.
These were the 4 that AI identified as faddish. Now, that's not necessarily negative. It said that they all came up in a short time together.
Yeah.
That's
So
what it meant.
there was a trend.
There was a trend for New Life, Crossroads, Journey, and Bridge.
Yeah, and thematically they're all similar.
Mm-hmm.
They're
That's
all
true.
talking about going from death to life.
Hmm.
And
Going
so,
across a road, making this major cross,
yeah.
going on a journey, crossing a bridge.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
thematically, they were all the same. So these hit the category of fad church names. And I want to be careful in saying that because it sounds like I'm being
Trendy names.
condescending. What's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. I was saying, yeah, fad can feel condescending, but like there was a trend.
AI called it fad. I'm saying what it called it.
Well, we can't trust AI. It puts you in timeout. Like, how does a computer system put a human in timeout? Anyway, that being said, there was a trend of focusing on going from death to life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, even crossings, crossroads, new life, journey, bridge, there's that emphasis on that. And so that kind of, I don't know what season that would have been. These are going to be more, I would say, last 15 to 20 years, maybe 25 years. This group, I felt like, surfaced. It feels more recent.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. In number, there are obviously outliers
Hmm.
before this,
Yep.
but coming in waves, they for them. And here's the thing about it is most of the people who gave them these names thought they were doing something that was very different,
Right.
but they thought about it at the same time.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So that
You
was
want to
four
do
or five.
something different? Call your church first plus the denomination when you start it. That will be different these days.
Yeah. 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 Maybe. It could be Third Baptist.
We did a consultation with the Third Baptist Church.
That is pretty unique. So, I mean, just
Uh-huh.
go 22nd Baptist. I don't know. I was just just pick one up down the road.
Hey, let me give you some civil rights history.
Okay.
Um,
And then I
as you
want to hit the
know,
last 8 here.
well, we've done enough on this. I mean,
Well, we said
we'll come back.
15. We got to at least give the list.
Okay, well, I'll let you give the list after this.
All right.
So I was born and raised in Union Springs, Alabama, which was almost the heart of the civil rights movement, halfway between Selma, equal distance between Selma, Montgomery, and Tuskegee. So, big civil rights town. A lot of civil rights marches, a lot of deep racism. It is a history into itself. I've told the story about how my dad, when I was 4 years old, took me to hear Martin Luther King at a revival in town. I don't think I remember it as much as I remember him telling me about it. But here's the story. There were 2 First Baptists in Union Springs.
Okay.
And the First Baptist was African American.
Okay.
The second one was all white, totally segregated, both of them. Somehow, the First Baptist that was all African American decided to become First Baptist colored.
Okay.
I don't know why they had to take on the colored name as opposed to the Anglos taking on First Baptist Church white,
Yeah.
But man, that was all of my childhood.
Interesting.
And I was a banker, and I remember checks coming in because our bank had accounts with both of those churches. There was First Baptist colored.
Oh, wow. Huh.
You wouldn't hear that today.
No, thankfully.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. That is definitely a unique situation. So yeah, maybe if you're naming a church, don't go back to First Baptist. You can pick something unique. But so we've hit 7. Again, the name of this
Name the rest
podcast.
of them, Jeff.
What's that?
Name the rest of them.
Yeah, I want to hit all 15 because that was the goal here. These next 2, 8, 9, similar. One is Elevation Church. That's number 8. Number 9 is Summit Church. These ones are all about going higher. 8, 9, Elevation Church, Summit Church. Number 10 came at Redeemer Church.
Tim Keller helped make that one even more popular.
Right. That is good. 11, 12, and 13. I feel like I probably have some connection here. 11 is Oasis Church. 12 is Harvest Church. And 13 is Light Church. I feel like those 3 are going to have some denominational connections between those 3.
Could be.
So Oasis Church, Harvest Church, Light Church. These last 2, I have not really heard of many of these. I'm surprised they're on the list. Number 14 is Anchor Church.
Which I have heard of, but I've never heard of Gathering Church.
And number 15 is Gathering Church.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised by those final 2. I mean, I have heard of Elevation, Summit, Redeemer, Oasis, Harvest, Light, But 14 and 15, Anchor and Gathering,
If
not
AI
working.
is right.
That's true. Could be wrong.
Or you could say Anchor Church is a church that won't change. It's stuck. It's not going to move.
Or maybe they're not going to let the winds of the world, deter their
That's what they
faith.
meant by Anchor.
So I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? All right. Well, that was our list of the 15 most common names according to Thom Rainer and AI, who has put him in.
Actually, we got to say AI and Thom Rainer.
AI and Thom Rainer, AI and Sean Thom. And so we're thankful that we got to just kind of do a fun one here, talking about different names. Again, this goes in connection of our previous podcast. We're talking about, hey, if you should change your church name. And so maybe you listen to that one, you're like, well, maybe I don't want to be in the top 15. And now you know the top 15 and you can name it something different. Or maybe you wanted to join in with the most common names. Now you have them. But regardless, this was a good little exercise and fun just to talk about a little bit of history and naming.
Before you go and thank Cheney, before you do that,
yep,
I do want to say that AI mentioned that there are a number of blank memorial churches that were named after people. So
Hudson
because
Memorial.
there's so many different people, it didn't make the list. But blank memorial church is fairly common too.
Yep. Okay, there you go. Well, thank you so much for being here today with us on the Church Answers podcast. Before you go, we would love for you to go to CheneyAssociates.com/churchanswers and see what Cheney Associates can do for you. We refer to them as the accounting firm for the church because that is all the accounting they do is for the local church. And so they are a great partner with us, but they're also a great partner with so many different churches, all different sizes, all different budgets. So don't be afraid to give them a call. Get a hold of them, see what they can do for you. Have a 30-minute discussion. It's not going to hurt. In fact, you might find out it's going to help a lot. They're all about them, Cheney handling the numbers, so you can go lead your church. Check them out at CheneyAssociates.com/churchanswers. We're so glad you were here with us today on the Church Answers podcast. Again, my name is Jess Rainer. We're here with Sean Thom Rainer today. And so love hearing his name and his name changes over the years. And so maybe that'll stick, maybe it won't. The only way you're going to know is if you come to our next podcast. So we'll look forward to seeing you then.